Guys of a Certain Age is brought to you by no one. Absolutely no one. Except these dudes walking down memory lane. Now let's head to the studio to see what they misremember next.
It's the podcast that wasn't nominated for an Oscar or any other award. It's Guys of a Certain Age. Robbie Equivalent's in studio alongside
Jay Reed.
Unless, Jay, were we nominated for some award that I didn't know about?
I was kind of hoping for the podcast would get nominated for a Tony because, Art and I sing from time to time, and we definitely act.
Act up.
Act up, act out.
Act down, act any way you want to. So, well, and Art's not here with us. He's somewhere between here and Seattle.
Somewhere between Nebraska and Montana, I believe, today.
I will tell you, in our text group, when I said Art drives through it in a reference to a river runs through it, I was very, very proud of.
I got the reference. I
said
did.
Jest. Yeah.
Is that a Montana movie? I can't remember. Is that where it took place?
Yeah, if I remember correctly. So, but
sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a long way to drive.
That is a super long way to drive.
We drove to Omaha a few years ago, and that was. Whew, I don't know that I'll ever do that one again. That's a day and a half. That's a solid day and a half drive.
Yeah. Well, it was, as I recall, it was worth the trip.
It was.
Point,
yeah, it was. And second time we'd been to Omaha and really liked Omaha. Mm-hmm. So we actually stayed in Council Bluffs right across the river. I mean, literally super close to the stadium where the College World Series is played. So, but it's not that time of year. It's the time of the podcast, though, to do some Geeks of the Week. You want to lead off with your geek?
I would be glad to. This is one, and this is the second week in a row that my Geek of the Week came from Mrs. Reed. So she's not just the conscience of the podcast. She's now part of the research department. But I did find this fascinating.
Let's double her salary.
Well, and ours too.
And it'll come out of your salary.
Right, okay, well. Yeah, I guess I'll buy her lunch sometime too.
There you go.
So this came from History.com. I don't know how she happened upon it, but I'm assuming that History.com is fairly reliable. Are you familiar with the actress by the name of Hedy Lamarr?
Yeah.
Okay, so back in the 40s,
yes,
she's from Austria originally, grew up as sort of a debutante, or I think her dad was a banker, her mom was a musician or something. Anyway, kind of grew up with the debutante lifestyle, but with an engineer's curiosity.
That's right.
And as she came to America, became a big star, and I think for MGM. Just if you look at her IMDb page, there's not a lot of movies, but there's a huge amount in a short time. Like,
along with her husbands, there were 6 of them. Seriously,
she was married. Husbands?
She was married to 6 husbands. Yeah,
okay, I didn't get that part.
From 33 to 65.
Good grief!
Wow. Yeah. Anyway,
so she made a bunch of movies for MGM, and was pretty much a star, but never lost that curiosity. And she got together. I guess she was being from, I think her first husband ended up sort of being on the wrong side of history when it came to the Nazis. She left him. She came over here, became the movie star. Through the World War II, began to see the danger. She wanted to do something. And, America, there was a certain, I forget what the name of it, but there was an organization in the U.S. that was encouraging citizens to kind of help with the effort. And so she got together with this guy named George Antheil, who was actually a pianist and a composer, and they figured out how to help stop German U-boats.
Yes.
So one of the deals was they it was
George Antheil.
Yeah.
George Antheil.
Isn't that what I said?
I thought you said and the Nelly. Anyway, no, go ahead.
Anyway,
Yeah.
George and
George
Hedy got together, and he did this thing with back up. The problem with the U-boats was if they tried to torpedo them from above or from a ship, they would just jam the signal and it would go awry. So they needed to figure out a way for them to shoot the torpedo without jamming the signal, without the Germans doing it. So anyway, he had developed this, I guess technology would be the right word at the time, for player pianos to play in synchronicity.
Yes.
And basically
before the police.
Right. Took that idea, he and Hetty and developed this way of something they call frequency hopping.
That's right.
So it would change the frequencies back and forth, and it would make it much more difficult to jam the frequency because it was constantly moving. So they took the idea to the Navy. They got it patented, worked with an engineer, got it patented, took it to the Navy. The Navy's like, you want us to put a player piano roll in the torpedo? No, thank you. But they did take the patent and make it top secret, basically put it away. So years later, fast forward to the 50s, Sylvania began to use the technology, I forget first, for another, let's see, for communicating with submarines. And then fast forward a little further, in the 70s, the very first car phones used the same technology to allow, many people to be on the phone at the same time. By the 90s, it was so commonly used that the FCC required it for secure radio communication. So Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, all the things that
everything is
use
signal
now,
hops. Yes,
sort of based on that. Now she never wanted like money for it or anything, but she did ask for recognition. I think she was finally recognized at some point.
She was granted a patent in 42 under her legal name. And Hedy Lamarr is legendary in electrical engineering circles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is the first I heard of it. I just thought it was really cool. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I was only in electrical engineering circles for a semester before I kicked it to the curb.
She also invented a improved traffic stoplight.
I saw a driver-friendly stoplight that she had done, but I didn't know what it. And I didn't talk about it further.
I'm looking on Wikipedia, but a tablet that would dissolve in water to create a flavored carbonated drink.
Yep, I saw that too.
Which is kind of crazy.
A light-up dog collar, which would
okay.
And this doesn't seem too technological, but some sort of device where you take a tissue, blow your nose, and then there was a receptacle attached to the tissue box, which doesn't seem like a huge feat of engineering, but it was mentioned a couple of times in her bio.
Well, the frequency hopping thing was just revolutionary.
Yeah.
Because our current cell phone technology, all our data sharing is based, like you said, Bluetooth, based upon frequency hopping.
And she had no technical training at all.
No.
Basically, she said, this article said that she was really curious about things, and her dad kind of explained how do streetcars work, how does electricity work, even though he was not an engineer either. And then when she married this guy, and I think it was military connected, she just would sit around and listen to them talk and picked up on all this information. And basically, they just assumed she was just a beautiful woman sitting there, looking at her husband look good. But she was taking all this in, and then had the brain to put all this together later. So I just thought it was kind of a fascinating story.
Yeah, it really, really is. And it's kind of sad because she didn't get the recognition she deserved. She didn't get monetary compensation for her part in it. And she kind of died penniless almost.
Oh, really?
And in 1997, the Electronic Frontier Foundation gave her and Thiel the Pioneer Award, which is...
Okay. He died like in 59 or something. He died way early before.
Because, again, that whole concept of frequency hopping, was just pretty incredible. So
Al Gore actually did not invent the internet. Hedy Lamarr did.
Yeah.
Well, I guess not the internet. Wi-Fi is just an outgrowth of the internet.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, frequency hopping is what made cell phones possible. Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, cool.
So never underestimate the starlet.
Not to be confused with Hedley Lamarr from Blazing Saddles.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So which she actually, if I saw this correctly, she sued Warner Brothers that by using a parody of her name, Hedley Lamarr, in Blazing Saddles, it infringed her right to privacy. So they settled out of court. So
I haven't watched that in so very long.
Yeah. Never could be made today. So
nope.
No way. Well, cool. That's tell Mrs. Reed thank you for the geek.
Shall.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I've got a couple. One will kind of play to the second half of the show when we talk about the Oscars. But we've talked about Patty Jenkins, and she directed Wonder Woman 84, and we got real excited because she was attached to a Rogue Squadron Star Wars movie.
Right, I remember
and
that.
It's been on again, off again, on again. Well, in a recent podcast interview, she said, "Hey, I'm working on a script for Rogue Squadron, so." Hopefully, Rogue Squadron is back with Patty Jenkins in charge. That would be a lot of fun to see.
Because that was I thought that was done.
Well, it was supposed to be out originally December of 23. Then it just got dropped off the slate. Okay. So we'll see if that happens. But I know Art would be excited because we kind of geeked out over the teaser trailer with her flying an X-wing.
Right.
So because I think her dad was a fighter pilot. I think there's some fighter pilot connection there. So Patty Jenkins maybe back in the Star Wars fold. The next thing I've got, we'll talk Oscars and Christopher Nolan and Oppenheimer, but the Variety ran a story this week as record that the next project for Christopher Nolan could be
bomb.
Well, it's a film adaptation of The Prisoner, the TV show from the 60s, which we've talked about. It was very, very influential. I know Art's seen it. It was wasn't it a BBC series? I don't think it was a BBC series, but it came out about the same time as The Avengers and a few other of those kind of pseudo, almost X-File-ish. The Prisoner took place upon an island. I didn't watch much of it. I was familiar with it. You had it very psychological. In 2009, AMC tried to do a series with Jim Caviezel, a 6-part miniseries, Ian McKellen, Ruth Wilson. Didn't work out really well. So I would be excited to see what Christopher Nolan could do with The Prisoner.
So it did work out or did not?
Did not work out.
Okay.
It was kind of panned.
Okay.
So, but yeah, man, it would that would be kind of cool. I mean, because I'm sure folks are going to throw tons of money at Mr. Nolan.
Of course.
Yeah,
they will.
And I mean, that's kind of how he ended up getting Inception made, was because he had made so much money with the Dark Knight trilogy. Yeah. And so, because Inception would be very, very difficult to explain in a pitch meeting. So, but
it's hard to explain after seeing it.
It is, especially when I haven't seen it in a few years. So, but anyway, The Prisoner may end up being the next piece that Nolan works on. Okay. So I don't think it will be regrettable, but it's time for Jay's regrettable segment.
Yeah, I think we have something a little bit better than we did on the last segment.
Oh, it can get much worse.
Yeah. So did you read as a kid a book series called The Three Investigators? Do you remember that? I think originally it was Alfred Hitchcock and the Three Investigators.
Oh, yeah.
But it just later became the Three Investigators.
Oh, yeah.
And they had this like junkyard hideout where they...
And I love the junkyard hideout. They had this trailer with all this junk, and they had this kind of underground entrance. And the leader of the group, he could do a Hitchcock impersonation that really got Hitchcock really mad and said, "Never do that again. How much will it pay? Do I need to pay you to never do that again?" So, yeah, I actually own the first book in the series.
Okay. Well, see, I loved that series, and maybe even more than Hardy Boys. It was definitely a rival to Hardy Boys. I read them both.
I love the idea of having a secret hideout.
I think that really appealed to folks
in
of
a
our age.
junkyard. Yeah. I'm gonna have to go back and find that and read it. So.
Yeah. So that I bring that up because this group in the regrettable book here is called the Ghost Patrol.
Okay.
If you've ever heard of the Ghost Patrol? They were back from, it was Flash Comics number 29 was their debut, which I think later becomes DC, or maybe is a part of DC at the time. And this is in May of 1942. So it's three guys, Fred, Pedro, and Slim.
Vote for Pedro.
Vote for Pedro, yes. And so when this comes out as a movie or a streaming series, we know who's going to play Pedro. It's going to be Pedro.
Vote for it. Yes.
Yeah. So the origin story is there are three pilots. They join the Foreign Legion, but they join it at a bad time, right before Nazi Germany takes over France. And so they end up having to work for the Nazis for a while. They don't like it, and they decide they're about to have to drop a payload on some innocent people. And they're like, and this is in North Africa for what it's worth. They're like, no, we're not going to do that. Well, meanwhile, they don't know that their mechanic has also decided he didn't want this to happen, and he sabotaged the plane. So they end up blowing up in midair, but pretty quickly they're dead, but they're not dead. They're dead, but they're hovering. There's sort of this invisibody.
They're ghosts.
They're ghosts, thus the name. But ghosts with interesting powers. So they crash and die, but they live again, and they have all kinds of fun powers. They can they can be invisible, or they can be visible. They can be They can walk through objects, or they can be solid. They can fly. They can stretch and separate their body parts. They can turn to smoke. They can summon storms. It's pretty much omnipotent in a way.
Yeah.
It kind of, because they can't be killed. They're already dead. And they first go after their original commander and I guess take care of him. And then they go to take care of Hitler and harass Hitler. And it says that one of the things they do is they steal his false teeth. And I just thought, this is a quote.
Hitler's false teeth.
Well, whether that's true or not. But it says, "Without mein Tisch, I cannot scream. Und if I cannot scream, how can I be the Führer?"
Oh my. Okay.
So there seems to be like Fantoma. They've got a 4-page spread in this book, which is not all the Regrettables have that. So there's a lot. It seems to be a lot of levity in this. So I think it would be fun. I can see this happening in a modern day take. Just as sort of a, how some of the Avengers movies and maybe DC to a lesser degree, but say Guardians of the Galaxy, that's got a lot of levity in it, a lot of fun in it. Like some of the Thor movies, good, bad, or otherwise. I can see this being a fun sort of supernatural superhero kind of series or movie or whatever. So, as far as the voting for regrettable or not regrettable, I would say not regrettable in this case.
I would agree with you. That would be not regrettable.
Because it's not, there's nothing ugly about it. They're just, they later take on mobsters. Apparently they were around for about 5 years and then just kind of disappeared. Nobody knows why.
They disappeared.
But 5 years compared to some of the other ones that we've talked about is pretty long time.
It is. It is. Cool.
So anyway,
awesome.
The Ghost Patrol.
The Ghost Patrol. I think Art would probably say that would.
Let's vote for him.
Yeah, we'll vote for him. Art, we're putting votes in your mouth.
Not regrettable.
Not regrettable. All right, we're going to take a break. Then when we're up next, we're going to talk the Oscars. And the awardless show is going to talk about the Oscars, the ultimate awards, I guess, But anyway, so did you watch the Oscars?
I watched bits and pieces. We were traveling and we got home after they had started, so we kind of started it late. And I was just kind of in and out of the room. I wasn't fully invested, but I tried to catch the big awards until I went to bed.
Yeah, I love Jimmy Kimmel, and I thought he did a great job. And I went in and out.
I don't know. I didn't like a lot of what
really?
he did. Yeah, I think he went overboard. And I know today I can't expect it to be clean completely, but I just thought, I won't say what he said, but in the monologue when he was talking to Robert Downey Jr.
See, I didn't even see the monologue. So.
Okay. See, that's the part I just thought, no.
Yeah, crossed the line.
He crossed the line, and it just hung there with the camera on Downey, and it's like, why?
Yeah.
And Robert Downey was going, you can't see, but he was like, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. And Kimmel just kind of hung there. I'm like, come on, have some sense.
So I'll have to go back and watch that again.
There was a few things like that I didn't appreciate, but there's a few things that were kind of funny.
Yeah. My biggest takeaway is Cillian Murphy's name is actually Cillian Murphy.
Yeah, we talked about that here before.
Yeah, I'd forgotten it, and I remembered it. So Cillian Murphy, and obviously it was the Oppenheimer night. But there are a few other things I thought were pretty cool. I thought the production design of the show looked great. I loved when the winners left stage. They had a camera kind of pseudo backstage
Down the aisle as they were coming out.
And I really, really liked that. I thought the production value, like I said, was great. Lighting was great. Some of the numbers were fun. Again, I didn't watch the whole thing, but like we said after we watched Oppenheimer back last summer, it was the Oscars. I mean, it was their Oscar to lose.
On the production stuff, what did you think about I think it was for Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor, Actress. They had like the 5 people who had won it before to come out and introduce them.
Great. I really liked that.
I liked it, but it definitely added some time to the show. But it was kind of cool.
But they finished the show earlier.
Did they really?
Yeah. So I thought that was great. And I love the way they had them come out. 5 of them. You had the full graphic behind them showing them from when they won. Did you see John Cena with no clothes on?
A little bit. I didn't see the whole. I didn't see how it finished, and that was on purpose.
Yeah, they cut away, and then they wrapped him in a toga, and it was
okay. I did see that.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. So,
I didn't quite understand the reason behind that.
No,
but,
I didn't either.
They're making much ado of it on the interwebs.
The best moment of the evening is when the visual effects crew for Godzilla -1 won. And
I didn't see that till later that they had won that. Yeah,
I tell you what, they should have had somebody who to speak from the production crew to speak for them, because it was very, very difficult to understand any English that they said. But they each had a Godzilla that was made for the Oscars. They wore Godzilla shoes, so the heels were like Godzilla's claws. It was really cool. And they had a picture of I believe it's the guy who created Godzilla for Toho. And so that was great to see that Godzilla won an Oscar.
I don't think I've seen that one. I need to go back and watch that one.
Well, you can't.
Okay.
So not in the U.S. at least,
really?
because of the licensing deal between Legendary Pictures and Toho. Toho only Productions, which Godzilla -1 was done by Toho, cannot be shown in the U.S. or maybe North American markets when Legendary has an active Godzilla movie about to come out. There's a window on either side. Well, I think it's within the calendar year. So Godzilla and Kong, their new version's about to drop in the next couple of months. So that's why Toho had the big push for Godzilla -1 in the theaters back over the holidays, because they had to withdraw it from the American market January 1. So there's no way you can stream it.
Stream it or anything.
No, you could VPN, I guess, and try to grab it that way, but that's a little disappointing. So,
oh gosh, yeah.
I would love to see Godzilla -1. I probably will grab that at some point. I've really enjoyed the Godzilla Kong movies, and as we record, Skull Island is now available on HBO Max. When we talked about Monarch Legacy Monsters, we couldn't find Skull Island anywhere on a streaming service. It's now on HBO Max. So, just a couple of things. Oppenheimer swept everything. Jennifer Lame won for Best Editing. She had a great speech. Best Cinematography for Oppenheimer won the Oscar. Best Score. I'm going through the list.
Like 7, is that right?
Best Supporting Actor with Robert Downey Jr., which was great. I mean, what a phenomenal role for him.
He made a good little speech, too.
He did. Cillian Murphy, Best Actor. Again, I think I said when we left, it was his to lose. Best Director, Nolan for Oppenheimer, and Best Picture, Oppenheimer. So I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah,
I had picked Emily Blunt too, but I didn't see the Holdovers, so I don't know.
Well, no, it was Emma Stone for Poor Things.
No, I'm talking about supporting. Emily Blunt was supporting.
Oh, for supporting. Yeah, Divine Joy Randall. The Holdovers is great. So
I haven't seen that at all. Is that the one with Paul Giamatti?
Yeah, okay. And it's kind of a almost a Dead Poet Society type of feel. So
it kind of looked like. See, I didn't see that, and I didn't see the other one.
You didn't see Dead Poet Society?
No, I saw that. I didn't see the holdovers, and I didn't see. Is it something fiction that got
American Fiction? Yeah, I didn't see it either. So I'd like to see that. I would recommend the holdovers. We watched that over Christmas, and Paul Giamatti. After he won the Golden Globe for Best Actor, he went to In-N-Out with his girlfriend.
I saw that,
and so he wore In-N-Out cufflinks.
Okay.
At the Oscars, which I thought was pretty epic. The nominees, their gift bags were worth close to $190,000 a piece.
Wow.
So even if you didn't win, you won. So Poor Things. Did you see Poor Things?
I didn't know. I'm interested now.
Yeah, Emma Stone won Best Actress for it.
That was another Kimmel joke that I didn't appreciate. But anyway.
Oh, I didn't grab it.
That gets into politics. We'll leave that alone.
Yeah. So what was I going to say? Poor Things had a lot of stuff. Barbie was really left out. And I thought, I think it's not a tragedy. I thought it was a shame that Margot Robbie did not get a nomination for Best Actress. And I think it was a shame that Greta Van Wing?
Gerwig, I think.
Yeah. She was not nominated for Best Director.
Yeah. They made Kimmel said something about that in the beginning as well.
So Barbie was left out. Barbie did.
But Ken did have a nice little song there.
Yeah, Ryan Gosling was great with his "I'm Just Ken."
Yeah. And they did win the song. It just wasn't the song that I knew.
It was "What Was I Made For" by Billie Eilish,
if you say so,
and Phineas O'Connell, who is her brother.
Yeah, I saw that later. I don't know really. I know her name, but that's all I know.
He has written a lot of stuff for her. He has produced her albums. He's kind of put his career a little bit on hold to help her career, which I think is pretty awesome. So, and that was her second, maybe it was their second Oscar because they won for a Bond theme a few years ago.
Okay.
So, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I thought "I'm Just Ken" might grab that, and but it didn't. But the performance was awesome. The shout out to the Steadicam operator who was tracking Gosling and had his hand model moment there.
Yeah, I didn't realize. I just saw. I mean, I watched it, but some of the guys who were dancing on stage with him were some of the other Kens too.
Well, yeah, Ncuti Gatwa, the current Doctor, was up there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that's what you're talking about.
I can't remember his name. He was
the guy from Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi was there. There were several folks. So he's
the one I saw. I'm like, oh, okay, these are the other Kens.
Yeah, those are the other Kens. I thought that was great. So, American Fiction, Best Adapted Screenplay. Best Original Screenplay, Anatomy of a Fall.
I don't know anything about it.
I don't know anything about it either. The Holdovers, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. So those are kind of that is our roundup of the Oscars. Pretty much went the way I expected.
What about animated? Did you think Spiderverse might have got that?
I think Spiderverse should have gotten it. The animated feature was The Boy and the Heron. There was a lot of chatter about it. I haven't.
I guess
watched
Spiderverse was the only one that I had seen, but still thought it was pretty amazing.
Yeah,
of course, I never knew about the international films, so
yeah.
I got we did this Pick'em thing, me and Art. And
yeah, how'd that go for you?
I got 7 out of 16. Art won with 9 out of 16, so nobody really shined too well.
Yeah.
So, and I think everybody else was kind of trailed behind him, but I think That's
what happens when you have a winner. Everybody else trails behind the winner.
Is that okay?
That's how winning works.
Maybe if I knew that earlier, that would have less disappointment in my life.
Yeah.
Trying to think. I was kind of surprised to see so many Maestro nominations. I mean, I haven't seen the movie.
Yeah.
Has it come out? Has it been? It had to have.
Yeah, it had to have. It had to come out in 2023.
It just seems more recently out than that, I guess.
Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
I mean, it dropped sometime in Q4, I believe.
Probably so.
But one of the things I saw, this is... This may have been the year that the Oscars dovetailed a little bit more with popular movies than have in the past. I don't know how many times the Best Picture has been some obscure art house film. this time it was one of the top 3 or 4 grossing movies of the year.
It was an actual blockbuster.
Yeah, so that was nice to see. And I've always kind of been irritated with the Academy because they've gone a little bit more weird, eclectic, esoteric. It's like you don't have to be strange to be a good movie. So
well, even though the winners may have been fewer, you still had quite several Barbie nominations. You still had Godzilla winning an award. You had
man, so great that Godzilla -1 won. That was awesome.
Let's see, Dial of Destiny actually was up for score, and there was something else that I thought Mission Impossible was up for sound. I haven't seen that one either.
Which Art did. I think Art really enjoyed it, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so there's several in the movie genres that we talk about most here that were represented. Now, Mission Impossible also up for visual effects, which didn't surprise me, but
yeah,
I chose Guardians of the Galaxy for that one and didn't win that either. So, but that doesn't shock anyone, does it?
No, it doesn't shock anyone. So
I mean, I wasn't really expecting to win the poll. I thought maybe my time here in 250 plus episodes would have taught me something, but still, apparently, you have to watch the movie and you have to also
think like an Oscar voter.
An Oscar voter.
Yeah, which none of us do. So
I'm not sure that's a terrible thing.
I'm not sure that's a terrible thing either. So
all right, the Oscars have happened.
Yeah. Any last thoughts?
I'm afraid that's all thoughts I got.
Okay. All right. We're going to wrap it up. You got our thoughts, few and varied, on the Oscars. We will see you this time next week.